For 15 years, Elon Musk was the #1 champion for putting humans on Mars. I mean, it was his entire identity. Then, one day in October 2024, he just stopped talking. We're about to find out why.
And this, right here, is the heart of the mystery. Musk didn't just talk about Mars. He lived and breathed it. So his silence? It's not just some PR shift. No, it's a signal that the dream he sold to all of us is dead. And the reason why is so much more terrifying than you could possibly imagine.
I mean, just look at this. The difference is night and day. Before October 2024, it's all bold promises, right? Specific dates, a city by 2050, landing this decade. Then, after, a single empty tweet on October 12th. We'll get there. And then, nothing. Complete and total radio silence. It's a ghost town.
So I've spent the last 40 days digging deep into this. And what I've pieced together is it's bigger than just one man or one company. It's a trail that connects a classified 14-minute NASA briefing, a very strange Chinese space mission, and a direct threat to Earth that is on a very, very real timer. You have to hear this.
Okay, so first, let's look at what happened around the silence. Because it wasn't just a tweet. This was a systematic, lightning-fast shutdown of the entire Mars ambition. And it all happened almost overnight.
The timeline here tells the story. On October 8th, 2 major Mars simulation missions are suddenly canceled. No reason given. Just gone. 4 days later, Musk sends that last lonely tweet. Then, get this, over the next week and a half, 4 of his top Mars engineers quit. They didn't just go to a competitor, they left the entire aerospace industry. And then you follow the money. $1.2 billion pulled from the Mars program and rerouted to something vague called orbital infrastructure.
And if you need to see it to believe it, look at this graph. For nearly a decade, he was averaging about 11 Mars mentions a month, like clockwork. Then October 12th happens, and the line doesn't just dip, it falls off a cliff. To 0. For months. Something terrified them. The first clue I got about what that was came from an anonymous email.
The email came from a burner account. The sender claimed to be a former SpaceX engineer. All it said was 3 words: check perseverance data. So I did, and what I found buried in NASA's own public records, it explains exactly why the Mars dream is dead.
Turns out, back in August of 2024, NASA's Perseverance rover found something on Mars: hexavalent osmium. Now, stick with me here, because this is the smoking gun. This chemical compound, it does not exist in nature. It's only created in 2 ways: in a high-tech lab or during a thermal event hotter than 3,000 degrees Celsius. Something incredibly violent happened on Mars.
I showed this data to a planetary geochemist who worked on the mission. She said, off the record, that this means Mars suffered an absolute catastrophe. And geologically speaking, it happened yesterday. Maybe just 10,000 years ago, not millions. See, Mars wasn't born a dead planet. It was killed. And what killed it is what connects this whole terrifying story back to us.
All of this leads back to a single moment in time. 2 days before Elon Musk went silent, he was called into an emergency classified briefing with NASA. The meeting lasted only 14 minutes, and someone in that room recorded it.
The audio I got is muffled, but the words are crystal clear. You hear a NASA official say, "We can't send people there. Not anymore." Then Musk's voice, "How long have you known?" And the chilling reply, "Since Curiosity found the first traces in 2019. They'd known for 5 years that the entire northern hemisphere of Mars was, and I quote, compromised."
So here's the horrifying truth they were hiding. Mars isn't just a cold, barren wasteland. It's actively toxic. That hexavalent osmium is in the dust, and it's so carcinogenic that it literally shreds human DNA on contact. Sending colonists there would be a death sentence. But wait, if Mars is off the table, why are they still building rockets? Bigger rockets than ever before.
This is where the whole investigation went sideways. If Mars is a toxic graveyard, what is the real mission? The answer, unbelievably, is tied to an asteroid we all know about, and a secret twin that we were never, ever supposed to know existed.
So on the left, you've got Apophis. NASA tracks it, tells everyone it's no big deal, 0 threat when it flies by in 2029. But on the right, that's its twin, 2004 MN4B. And guess when NASA stopped publicly tracking it? 2019. The same year, they secretly found the first traces of toxins on Mars. The public was told it was in a degraded orbit. The reality? It was on a collision course with Mars.
And here's what happened. 10,000 years ago, this twin asteroid slammed into Mars. The 1,200 megaton impact flash-sterilized the surface, and that incredible thermal event created the toxic dust that Perseverance just found. Mars was murdered, and its killer's sibling, Apophis, is headed our way.
But here's what they are not telling you. NASA is telling the truth, technically. Apophis itself will miss us. The problem is it's not alone. Think of it like the first car in a funeral procession. What's trailing behind it is why the world's governments are in a state of quiet panic.
A few months later, in December 2024, another secret meeting was held. And just look at who was there. Musk, Bezos, NASA, sure. But then, the head of U.S. Space Command and FEMA's Continuity of Government program. Let me be clear. You do not bring FEMA into a meeting about space exploration. You bring them in when you are planning for a planetary disaster.
1 month after that meeting, these patents were filed by SpaceX. And they're not for Mars bases. These are blueprints for a massive, self-sustaining space station, a rotating habitat for 10,000 people with life support built to last for 50 years. They're not building a colony anymore. They're building an ark.
I got this classified tracking data from a network of amateur astronomers who never stopped watching. Apophis passes us on April 13, 2029, just like they said. But then look what's right behind it. Object 2 and Object 3 are likely to burn up in our atmosphere. But then there's Object 4. It's over 2 kilometers wide, and its current probability of a direct Earth impact is 31%.
31%. Just let that number sink in. That's not a fraction of a percent. This is a 1 in 3 chance of a civilization-ending event. And suddenly, it all makes sense. This is why Mars is a distraction. The real mission was never about leaving Earth, it's about surviving it.
So, now we can finally put all the pieces together. The silence, the toxic dust, the secret meetings, the hidden asteroid cluster, it all points to one single unbelievable conclusion. Here's the real timeline. In 2019, they discovered the threat and buried it. In 2024, the Perseverance data proved that this wasn't theoretical. It had happened before, to our neighbor. That's when NASA briefed SpaceX, and the secret pivot from a Mars colony to an orbital ark began. The new mission? Get enough habitat modules into orbit by 2027 to save a small piece of humanity before that cluster arrives in 2029. But there's one last detail, something that keeps me up at night. I showed the classified trajectory data to a planetary defense expert. He said the objects aren't tumbling randomly. They're in a tight, precise formation. His exact words were, "This doesn't look like a natural cluster. This looks like someone fired a shotgun at our solar system 10,000 years ago, and the bullets are just now arriving." In 1,247 days, we find out if they were right to keep this secret from all of us. I'm releasing everything, the unredacted tracking data, the full audio from that meeting, all the classified documents, in part 2 of this investigation. Subscribe and share this right now before they manage to take it down. The countdown has already started.